Well, it's awesome to chat with you again, Matthew. The last time was a few months back for Paladin, and
Oh yeah.
I know since then I think you had two drops that sold out, so it must have been awesome for you to see in the response to that these past few months.
I will tell you, it has been very exciting, um, and satisfying and thrilling and a lot of work because in success we are doing more. And so, that creative process never stops. And I think this year we have planned 7 drops. And so, we start with Rogue. We started with that yesterday and it did great. So the road is full of more opportunities to come, which is thrilling. Yet it's the first time in my life I've had a 9 to 5 job, and I've never sat so much in my entire life. That's why you'll excuse me to your viewing population. It was such a beautiful day. I had to get outside. So I apologize for the moving trees behind me.
No, not at all. No, it sounds like you're having a great time. And, I know obviously we're going to get the next chapter of Dawn of the Unbound Gods with this drop. So, anything you can tease about that? Because I know something people loved about Paladin was jumping into this world that you guys have created with Quest End.
Yeah. A couple of things I can tease, I think. First and foremost, we developed a brand new class or not a class, a ethnic background or hereditary. Like, what are they calling it now? They're no longer calling it race. Um, I forgot what they call it. But we developed something called. I'm gonna take that. We're gonna cut that out. We're gonna cut that part out. Yeah. So we have exciting stuff to talk about. So um, we have developed what we call Uwe, who's our snow elf. So we created a new lineage called Snow Elf. So that was super fun with Tyler Jacobson, who's our artist, world-renowned artist who does most of the D&D covers, and then Kate Welsh, who's our storyteller and our writer. She's incredible. And so we took Uwe, um, and yeah, and so that their sort of adventure leads to the next drop, which is great, which is Warlock. And then in January, right before my birthday, we all got together in Seattle for like a conference, like a sort of creative summit. And so we planned out, I don't know if everyone knows this or not, but we have planned for Quest End 16 different drops. So 16 different bottles. Each bottle is a different flavor profile. Each bottle continues the saga. And so we planned the beginning, middle, and end of the entire saga. And that was thrilling for so many reasons. It was just, as a creative process, it was exhilarating, super fun, collaborative, just really one of the highlights of this whole experience has been that whole weekend. It was great.
Wow, yeah, well, that's awesome to hear that this thing is like moving forward full steam ahead. And I know since last time you set up something called the High Rollers Guild. So I was wondering if you could maybe
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about that, because that I don't think was something we talked about last time, and it sounds like a cool idea.
yeah. High Roller Guild was an opportunity for us to, as you're building a new company, the amount of it costs to an enterprise to build a company is pretty extensive. Our initial investment from investors went into buying the bottles and the liquid and sort of setting up the business license and all those things and lawyers and all that kit and caboodle. But we wanted an opportunity to people to express themselves and be able to sort of support us on a deeper level. And basically the High Roller Guild allows you to purchase all 4 bottles up front. And for that, you not only do you receive all 4 bottles and lower numbers because each one of our bottles is numbered, but you also get things like a little behind the curtain. Like, so, we did a tasting with our master blender, Ali Ochoa, and Ali walked everyone in the High Roller Guild through what they were tasting and why she did it and what the thoughts were and that whole process. And then we had like a whole hour conversation about the company, where it's going, what we're doing. And then like there's a sign lithograph. So we have this incredible um, this incredible art by Tyler Jacobson, who then went off and signed it. So we're sending them to the High Roller Guild. So it's really about, I mean, we believe that we are never going to be a whiskey company that competes with the biggest and the boldest. We are a company that builds communities and adds spirits to sort of to build around as sort of the whatever the weight that brings people together, and the sort of one of the passions that brings people together. And so while this has been great and exciting, building for Quest End and building for the D&D community and sort of the RPG space, we have other things that are coming this year that are equally as exciting. And I got news today about somebody who's coming on board to write with us. And so yeah, it's really been a magical launch. We've done we've done 3 drops in 5 months. And yeah, and we're hot on the heels of the next one, which is a collaboration, which is we're really excited about.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I suppose myself being from the UK, I should probably mention as well, you've got British Invasion in the works as you start rolling this thing out internationally. So can you maybe talk a little bit about that as well? Because I know that's something a lot of fans are going to be excited about.
Yeah, so we are clear, obviously, with Critical Role selling out Wembley, I think 2 months ago. Obviously, there's all kinds of RPG players out, DD players in the UK. And so for us as a brand, we want to keep expanding. We want to keep building these communities. And so early on, our first 2 drops, it was too much for us to sort of figure out. There's a lot of pieces, insurance, shipping, what states we ship to and what states we don't. I mean, there's lots happening. And so one of the things we wanted to do in the interim between October and January was figure out how to get over to the UK. And so it's so funny. Literally, one of the reasons I got outside this morning is because I've been doing math and how to figure out how that we're going to get it over to the UK. It's so complicated. Duty is no fun. Tariffs are no fun. Booze over international borders not fun, but we're working on getting that together and sussing it out. One of the things that if you go to Quest and Whiskey, Paladin, I keep doing that, Rogue's on sale right now, and you can sign up to be notified when our bottles actually land in the UK. And our hope is that if you are signing up for notification, that you are interested in purchasing, because that way that will sort of determine how many bottles we ship over, and they'll go on sale through a vendor out there called N10, and we're excited to partner with them going forward.
Awesome. And you've mentioned Rogue a few times now. Can you maybe talk us through what whiskey lovers will want to know about that, how it differs from Paladin, and just the sort of blend that
Yeah.
they can expect?
Okay, so without a doubt, so each one of the things that we do at Quest 7 is that each bottle has a different flavor profile based on the character or the primary character on the bottle. So the first 4 drops for Quest End are Paladin, Rogue, Warlock, and then Dragon. And so each one of the flavor profiles is built for that character. So Rogue is so sneaky delicious, it's ridiculous. I liked Paladin, and that Paladin is good. Full disclosure, I'm not a huge whiskey drinker. I enjoy tequila, I enjoy a good beer, but I'm not a big whiskey guy. So for me, Paladin was a lot of heat on the tongue, and it was good. But Rogue is absolutely scrumptious. It's in terms of the other thing you have to understand is that we have categories here in the U.S. in terms of based on age profile of the whiskey. So super premium is what a category that we fall under. So each one of our blends is over 4 years in terms of the liquid that we're using. So we are a premium blended whiskey. We have whiskey from Indiana and from Kentucky. Most of it's from Kentucky, and most of it is over 7 years old. So it's really buttery, really smooth. It's got some I'm not good at the descriptions, but it's really jammy. It's got a lot of fruit forward, but it is smooth as it gets. And so we are, I will tell you, I still have to purchase I don't get paid for this job yet. I don't get paid for this job, and I had to buy my whiskey. And I bought 10 bottles for my friends and my family. So that's how much I love this.
Oh, that's an awesome endorsement. And you know, Matthew, well, I got you. I saw an interview a few days ago with Skeet Ulrich, and he was saying that he'd love to see Stu return to Scream, and obviously they're overhauling that seventh movie now. So I know you said before you're open to maybe going back. How do you feel at the moment, though? Do you think could you see yourself going back to that franchise?
Yeah, it's kind of and listen, I in this town in this day and age, my age, right? I'm sort of like had a great career. I'm coming around second base, headed for home. It's a baseball analogy for those. We're in stoppage time is a good football analogy for the
Yeah.
UK. You know, it's something that I'm super proud of. I'm glad it's in my life. I'm glad it's in my repertoire. I'm glad it's part of my history and my lineage. It would have to make a lot of sense to go back. It would have to make a lot of sense as a story, as filmmakers. I'm really thrilled that I'm involved in Five Nights at Freddy's, which has been a huge
Yeah.
success and sort of been like a third franchise in a career, which I didn't expect. And so I'm more excited about the upside of that and the future of that than going back to doing something I've done before. But all that said, you know, we'll see what happens. Nobody has called me. I'll tell you that much. Nobody seems that interested for the return of Stu,
Yeah.
except for the fans. The fans are freaking out. They love the idea, and I would argue you could throw a TV on my head, I'll survive. So there you go.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's. I think that movie blew up in a way not a lot of people expected. So I know your character met his end there. You've talked before about coming back, but what did it mean to you, like you say, to get that third franchise and something new as well for your career moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's life changing. Frankly, I mean, we are. Uh, I do a lot of conventions. I found that doing conventions for me is a two-way transaction. I get paid for autographs and selfies, and then in the interim, I get to meet people and sort of connect. And so it's a really I'll do a couple of them this year, and that is a great way to feed my family. And the great thing about Five Nights at Freddy's is that those fans have just sort of ensured that I'll be on that circuit for a couple more years and allowed to meet more people and continue to feed my kids. They don't stop eating, which is sort of soon enough they'll be adults, so they'll have to feed themselves. But for the time being, that's still my job, and so that's been great. It's great to have to sort of catch a new generation of kids in the Matthew Lillard, dangerous clause or whatever. I don't know, but it's fun. It keeps you relevant, and as an actor, that's all you want to be until the day you die.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see you find that success. I know Scooby-Doo, that's another franchise you've gone back to. Last year, there was that Scooby-Doo and Crypto movie. I had a great time with that. Is that franchise one you hope to keep hopping back to? I know Warner Brothers, they scrapped Scoob, one you weren't involved with. I think a lot of fans were disappointed, but do you hope to keep jumping back into that world? Or again, is that like Scream behind you in some ways?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about it. I actually have there's a new I can't really talk about it yet, but there's a new project that I'm associated with that will allow kids to put themselves into a Scooby-Doo adventure, and so that's super fun. I mean, look, for me, that's my day job. That's my bread and butter. Those are the for me doing being Shaggy for so many years, holding space for that part and sort of honoring the work that Casey Kasem did, and eventually someday passing that part on to the next generation. I'm honored to be that as long as they'll have me. Scooby Doo is always in cycle in some capacity or another. We are either doing a cartoon or we're doing a movie or we're doing a commercial for something. There's a million different iterations of it, and it's always in the works. So I've had the privilege of being that, honor of being that voice for the last almost 16, 17 years. And so I will hold on to that as long as I can.
Cool. Well, great to talk about those franchise, but back to this one, you're expanding it, like you said, in a huge way with these drops. But moving forward, do you see yourself, releasing maybe some board games, graphic novels, even maybe an animated or live action adaptation of Quest's End and just expanding the world in other ways beyond the whiskey?
Yeah, I think, look, everything's possible. I mean, we've definitely talked about at the end of the 16 bottles, releasing a bound book, releasing a boxed edition for to play through. Um, so yeah, so that's definitely possible. Look, it's our, Rogue is our second drop. I mean, we have Paladin and Paladin plus one. We sold out in the first 2 weeks. Then we had Paladin plus one is what we spun over to because we had 25,000 people on the waiting list. And so then we launched Paladin plus one. So, the success of those two brands was great, but we've got to sustain it over 16 drops. And so we have a lot of work to do. Our hope is that we continually give the fans what they want, that we keep inspiring them to come back. So in success, God knows where it goes, but right now, Paladin, I keep doing it. Rogue went on sale yesterday. Hits the general population tomorrow. It's our stealth sale, so we only first 48 hours is only for our email list. So we go wide tomorrow, worldwide, and hopefully, if somebody sees this, they'll come out and pick up a bottle and join us on the adventure.
Definitely. And just one final question for you, Matthew. When we spoke last time, you had literally just got, I think, a sample bottle of Paladin. You were
Oh,
really excited to get your hands on with it. Obviously, now I know you're a big D&D fan and you're big into this world. So to see the finished product, I know this obviously isn't associated with D&D, but to now have your own, part of this world and to get these drops in hand, what's that been like for you as a fan yourself?
yeah. I mean, to be honest, that duck was burst when I was working with Beetle and Grimm's. Beetle and Grimm's, we make high-end box editions for Dungeons and Dragons. We've been doing that now for 5-6 years, and that to me, the first time we did the Waterdeep box, I'm sort of being a part of that and leading that box from the get-go and sort of building that soup to nuts. That was hugely impactful and powerful for me. This is really about, I think the thing I'm most proud about it is that we are building a company that's first and foremost a foundation for fans and communities, and we will actively be building communities as we go through. Right now we're learning to walk and chew gum at the same time, and so I think our next step as a company is to find ways to continually connect people in this space, and to me, that next piece of this is going to be really exciting. So the juice is great. That's all fun. The storytelling is my favorite part, but this next part, which we build, the High Roller Guild out, we give people other opportunities to connect, we create opportunities for people to feel a part of a community that's bigger than us. That to me is the next sort of hurdle that I'm excited about taking that challenge on. Not to sound that all sounded very sort of political and like well-rounded, but that's the shit I think is going to be cool. It's like, how can we continue to tell the story and pull people together? I think that's going to be awesome.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the success you guys have found so far and moving forward as well, Matthew. Awesome to
Thank
chat
you,
with
mate.
you again. So, yeah, thank you for taking the time and enjoy your walk. It looks like a lovely day.
Oh, it's so good. I had to stop. I was winded. I didn't want to keep huffing and puffing to your viewers. Like, why is Matthew Lillard so old and dying on a walk? All right. Well, cheers, brother. Thanks for
Awesome,
jumping
man.
on.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Later, brother.